My name is Odonga Otto. I am a political philosopher, a graduate of the University of Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona. I want you to listen to me carefully because many of you are political scientists and you don't think. Philosophers like me are to construct all the possible scenarios in any situation before it happens. So I was spending time thinking, what happens if President Museveni is not there? What happens to Uganda? Which would be the center, the fulcrum of Uganda's politics? There are 5 possible alternatives. The first one, can the cabinet stand together and follow the constitution to the letter that the vice president will take over as the president? I don't think that scenario is possible. These cabinet ministers, you see them moving with guns, with escorts. They have only 2 threats in their lives, maybe 3. 1, the Al-Shabaab. 2, the opposition, errant politicians, rioters. 3, their colleagues. They hate themselves with a passion. They don't even talk among themselves. Some, they just are united by the presence of President Museveni. So the cabinet are not united. So that situation that the cabinet can rally behind a single person is out. That is one scenario. The second scenario, what happens if President Museveni is not there? Can the NRM party hold together and direct the country wherever they want to? It is very unlikely because the level of hatred and intrigue and fighting for money among the major NRM actors in the country, it's laughable. Even some of us who have been in opposition have a cleaner heart and talk objectively about what is good and what is right. So among the NRM members, beyond the presence of President Museveni, forcing cohesion, it's not very easy. So the first scenario, the cabinet and the vice president cannot hold. That's my political philosophy opinion. The second scenario, the NRM party has a lot of internal acrimony, cannot hold. What comes to the third scenario? Can the opposition forces jointly organize, hold government, specifically the big brother in the bull now, Noop and Bobby Wine? Can they hold the country together? Because I've just given my political philosophy opinion that the cabinet cannot, that NRM as a party is very unlikely. Can the opposition do so? No. The opposition cannot do so because if the NRM, which has a semblance of national and holistic organization, cannot do so, it is very unlikely that the Noop with the 99% representation in the central can hold the country together, you know. So that scenario is very unlikely. Even if they join with FDC, even if they join with whichever political party, that scenario is also very unlikely. The fourth scenario that may come into play, can the army hold the country together? Can they enforce law and order? Is the army a united institution? Now that is the million-dollar question. Many fingers tend to point in that direction, that the army can enforce a nationwide curfew. They have the instruments of coercion in their hands. But are they a patriarchal organization? We will also have a challenge because the loyalty and the capacity of President Museveni to discipline the armed forces is very unlikely that anyone else can have that kind of capacity. Unlike countries like Kenya, where the army is separate and the army commander, that's it. The moment you're in the army, the rule of the thumb is no involvement in politics. But in Uganda, well, they can enforce a curfew. They can enforce a curfew, but at the same time, where the opposition is residing in the capital city, in Kampala, no one can enforce a curfew forever. For how long will you do that? The people don't want it. The opposition is in the city. The soldiers in deployment would want to pay. So this puts us in a scenario as political scientists and political philosophers that the scenario of a government of national unity, in my opinion, is more unlikely. Although the army may hold for a while, for a period not exceeding 6 months, because the international pressure and sanctions would come. So it's a pity that as political philosophers we have difficulties in constructing the likely scenarios in Uganda. Uganda is now like sports betting. Uganda is now like a casino. You cannot tell anything. You can only predict the oscillations while President Museveni is in power. Beyond that, we cannot. But be it as may, in a way or another, the country will sort out itself. These are my preliminary views. Tell me what you think.